Ooh, did you hear that?
That was somebody down there.
Yeah, sounds good.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 4 of Boots on Bigfoot. In this episode, we're going to take a look at some new structures, and at the end of the video, I have a new piece of audio evidence that was recorded on this trip on our final night out at this habituation site. Now, yeah, you just heard that clip at the very beginning of the video, but at the end I'll run you through the events pertaining to the recording of that audio in more detail. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Let's get into it.
They were basically walking, they were either cone picking or they were berry picking. But anyways, he turned around. They always carry a gun for bear protection, and there was Sasquatch standing with the kids. And so he shot it. And so I knew George pretty good, but he passed away before I could talk to him about it. But I know his son, and his son told me that he tracked it but couldn't find it. He came out and helped his brother. But when I talked to the trapper, he said no. He said they did eventually find it, and it led them into an ambush, and they ended up with a bunch of others on them, and they almost didn't make it back out.
Find their way out, eh?
Yeah, and it's just like if you go over to look on the map, there's a place on the map there where there's no seismic lines. It's probably the only place in the province. That's where they are. There's no seismic lines in there. And I know I had a friend shot an elk in there, and he had a bad experience.
Do you think a helicopter flying over the bush, like flying over this kind of stuff, would even be able to see one?
You know, the funny thing about the bush here is you can actually see between the trees.
Yeah.
Like in the wintertime when you come through here, you can see the snow on the ground between the trees. Which means, but there's, I mean, without snow on the ground, there's absolutely no way that you'd be able to see into there, but something could see out. You know, it's almost like...
I wonder if a thermal would pick it up.
Thermal would. Should. Yeah.
If the cover isn't too dense or too broad.
One of you guys posted that drone. Did you see that drone that with the thermal imaging on it? That thing is sweet. That would be the thing to have.
Yeah, we were saying that earlier.
They're just getting better and better every year, right?
I could afford one, you know.
The octocopters now are pretty fantastic too. They're building hurricane-resistant ones now.
Really?
That can fly in hurricanes.
No way.
Yeah.
I could see from my eyes up where I was standing, where it was, and she said she could see it from the hips up.
Holy.
Yeah, and it was gray and silver. She said when it turned, the silver just shone in the sunlight, and she knew what it was because it's the second one she's seen. She saw one in Jasper, and that one she saw close. But she said this one was big, and it just turned. She said she was on the back of the quad. They were coming out. It's the wintertime, right at the base of. And she said that nobody else saw it, just her. And she said she never even told anybody else. She was on the quad with her boyfriend.
That's where we were camping when we hiked down there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Love that place.
Yeah.
I slept for like 14 hours that night, didn't I?
Yeah.
Holding Dave.
Do you know who else is totally into Sasquatches? Is Michael Rosenbaum.
Oh.
The guy from Smallville played Lex Luthor. He's always got a Squatch t-shirt and a Squatch cap on his podcast. That'd be a cool guy to get out here. He's funny as hell.
I'd rather take Megan Fox.
Yeah, I heard she.
Yeah, Megan Fox. Let's do it.
Is she into it?
Yeah, she is. She's
Rob
cute.
Lowe.
Megan Fox and Rob Lowe.
Yeah, Rob Lowe. Yeah.
Rob Lowe, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Rob Lowe and his kids, they went out with the North American Wood Ape Conservancy guys in southeastern Oklahoma, and his kids had a sighting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Through night vision.
Holy sh**.
Okay, just break off the top of anything that's up there. doesn't appear to have broken off of anything that fell, because I don't see anything down here that had a top missing off it.
Unless it was one of these ones.
Yeah. If you look at the thickness though on the thick end,
It's definitely thicker on.
it's thicker than any of the others that I can see up there, unless I'm missing something.
It looks like if it was gonna come from any of them, it'd be this big one here.
Oh, yeah, no, maybe that could be. Except it's weird how it's underneath it though.
Yeah, I don't know how that would.
How could that? See, the one that's got the split branch, underneath it is this other one that goes up, and the one that's horizontal is on top of the angular one.
The old trademark stick across the center, eh?
That, and it's woven in.
Yeah, it's woven in, yeah. That's the whole thing. These things are weaved, and people say, oh, that's random.
Well, we were just looking at how the different trees have either fallen or been pushed over, but that horizontal one is in between. I don't see any way that it could.
Well, here's something for you to look at when you see this. If you were 10 feet tall and your arms went all the way to your knees, how high could you reach? Well, there's your answer.
Yeah, that's
Like that is exactly what you're looking at.
So as you can see, we came across a tree structure that really stood out and was very large. To be 100% honest, I have a difficult time wrapping my head around the idea that even a Bigfoot could make something like this, just based on the fact that it's so large and high up. However, like Ken said in the video, if you have a 10-foot tall Bigfoot and its arms hung past its knees, then I suppose it would be possible, especially if there was more than one Bigfoot creature. Anyway, the horizontal floating log is something that we see quite frequently in this area, which leads me to believe that there's probably actually something to that. Nowhere else in the Rockies have I ever come across a location that has this many floating log tree structures. They're all concentrated in this location, which is totally baffling to me. After checking out that structure, researcher Brian Spackman and I continued exploring for the afternoon, and we walked some muddy quad trails in hopes of finding tracks, but we didn't find anything that resembled a Bigfoot track. We did, however, on the way back come across another bizarre structure that was also massive. It was very simple, and it consisted of a log that had its bottom end high up in the air, as you can see in the footage. Very, very unusual and out of place in my opinion. And that concluded our explorations for that final day.
Well, I mean, I think there's a bit of around with like the speaker setup and stuff like that too, right? And then every 400 meters on the way back, I think we stopped and broadcasted on the way back. And then based off of my conversation with Mike, it sounds like after we did the last broadcast, and then as we were coming back around, like just the headlights were becoming visible, that's when everything happened around here. Is it as if it decided, okay, I need to do something and then get out of here. And that must have been about 1 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. That all of that occurred, I think. It was not as early as midnight. It was a little bit later.
Alright, now for the interesting part. I need to preface this account by saying that a couple of our group members, Matt and Nicole, had left an audio recorder out that was rolling non-stop. I didn't have any cameras rolling at all at the time. Everyone was just enjoying the last evening out there, and nobody was really focused on research. Like, we should have been, but we were all kind of caught off guard by it. But we were all hanging out and chatting around the camp area. People were kind of cutting loose with a few drinks because, you know, it was our last night there. And we were kind of just taking advantage of all being together because, you know, those moments are kind of rare to be able to have everybody in the group together all at once. You know, sometimes trips like this are kind of hard to coordinate. But anyways, literally out of nowhere, a loud whooping call was made from somewhere southeast of the camp location and really not that far away. And it really made all of us perk up. Initially, I thought Matt had made the call because he was closest to where it came from, but he claims that he didn't. And I don't think anyone else had made it either. Now, the interesting thing is that before this happened, Ken Walker, he was making some whooping noises and then he went to bed early in his truck. And this is kind of an important fact because Keenan was thinking at first that it was Ken making more whooping calls. Except I had crossed paths with Ken when he was on his way to his truck to go to bed, and I knew for a fact he did go to his truck, he did go to sleep. So yeah, it was just a very, very odd thing how Ken was making calls, and then this happened not long after. But you can see it here on the spectrogram in Audacity, and I'll just play it through a few times here.
Ooh, did you hear that? That was somebody down there.
Yeah. Sounds good.
That was them.
Oh, was that them?
What was that? Yeah.
That wasn't you?
No, that wasn't me.
Ooh, did you hear that? That was somebody down there.
Yeah. Sounds good.
That was them.
Oh, was that them?
What was that? Yeah.
That wasn't you?
No, that wasn't me.
Ooh, did you hear that? That was somebody down there.
Yeah. Sounds good.
That was them.
Oh, was that them?
What was that? Yeah.
That wasn't you?
No, that wasn't me.
Yeah, so that was, in my opinion, the most interesting piece of evidence gathered on this trip. We went out afterwards in the direction of the sound and did some call blasting, which resulted in 0 replies. We didn't find any trace evidence left behind from anything either. But we're going to have Matt on the show in the very near future to tell his side of the story on that vocalization because, like I said before, he was the closest to it, to wherever it came from, and he was probably paying the closest attention as well. But anyways, that's all for this episode of Boots on Bigfoot. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.